Hey guys, it's Mrs. Clinley with this week's First Chapter Friday. This week, I'm very excited to be talking to you about Restart by Gordon Korman. We have like a gazillion Gordon Korman books in our Palmer library, so chances are you may have already read one of his books. If you haven't yet read his books, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Gordon Korman writes, he's kind of all over the place, but he really does a lot of realistic fiction writing. And this book, as well as many of his other books, are very relatable to students. So let's talk a little bit about this book specifically. So Restart, you can see the little subtitle there. It says "Lose Your Memory, Find Your Life." This is about an eighth grader named Chase, who is like the star football player, state championship winning football team kid in his school. And because he is so athletic, he oftentimes gets away with things that he probably shouldn't be getting away with. He is kind of like the ringleader of the bully group in his school, and they kind of just make other kids' lives miserable. One kid's life was made so horrific by the bullying that Chase and his cronies were kind of doing that the child ended up having to withdraw from public school and go away to a boarding school just to get away from the bullying. So he kind of was pretty horrific in his life and the way that he treated other students. Well, one day he falls off his house's roof and gets a very severe concussion, and as a result has amnesia, and he can't remember anything. He can't remember his mom, he can't remember his dad, he can't remember his best friends. And when he goes back to school, he starts to see that the way that his friends are treating other kids is not so nice. He starts to kind of make new friends, and some of the kids who he befriends are kids that he had formerly bullied. So it's pretty interesting. Gordon Korman a lot of times will show his stories in different perspectives or different point of views. So each chapter is told from different characters' perspectives. So Chase is the main character. We hear from him most often, but a lot of times the chapters will switch point of view and we'll hear from the more secondary characters, which is pretty interesting. I think it makes for enjoyable reading, but then it really kind of shows you how other characters are feeling in different circumstances. So let's jump into Restart chapter 1, which is from Chase's perspective. I remember falling, at least I think I do. Or maybe that's just because I know I fell. The grass is far away until it isn't anymore. Somebody screams. Wait, it's me. I brace for impact, but it never comes. Instead, everything just stops. The sun goes out. The world around me disappears. I'm being shut down like a machine. Does this mean I'm dead? Blank. A light is harsh, fluorescent, painful. I squeeze my eyes shut, but I can't keep it out. It's an explosion. Voices are babbling all around me. You can't mistake the excitement. He's awake. Get the doctor. They said he'd never. Oh, Chase, doctor. I try to make out who's there, but the light is killing me. I thrash around, blinking wildly. Everything hurts, especially my neck and left shoulder. Blurry images come into focus. People standing and sitting in chairs. I'm lying down. A sheet is over me, white, which makes the brightness even worse. I raise my hands to cover my face, and suddenly I'm tangled in wires and tubing. A clip on my finger is tethered to a beeping machine next to my bed. An IV bag hangs from a pole above it. Thank God! The lady beside me is choked up with emotion. I can see her better now. Long brown hair, dark rimmed glasses. We found you lying there. That's all she can manage before she breaks down crying. A much younger guy puts an arm around her. A white coated doctor bursts into the room. Welcome back, Chase, he exclaims, picking up a chart on a clipboard at the foot of my bed. How do you feel? How do I feel? Like I've been punched and kicked over every inch of my body. But that's not the worst part. How am I supposed to feel when nothing makes sense? Where am I? I demand. Why am I in a hospital? Who are these people? The lady with glasses gasps. Chase, honey, she says in a nervous voice. It's me, Mom. Mom? Doesn't she think I'd know my own mother? I've never seen you before in my life, I bluster. My mother is. My mother is. That's when it happened. I reach back for an image of Mom and come up totally empty. Ditto dad or home or friends or school or anything. It's the craziest feeling. I remember how to remember, but when I actually try to do it, I'm a blank. Unlike a computer with its hard drive wiped clean. You can reboot it, and the operating system still works fine. But when you look for a document or a file to open, nothing's there. Not even my own name. Am I Chase? I ask. While my other questions sent murmurs of shock around the hospital bed, this one is greeted with a silent resignation. My eyes fall on the chart in the doctor's hands. On the back of the clipboard is written Ambrose, comma, Chase. Who am I? A mirror, I exclaim. Somebody give me a mirror. Perhaps you're not ready for that, the doctor says in a soothing tone. The last thing I'm in the mood for is to be soothed. A mirror, I snap. The lady who calls herself Mom fumbles inside her pocketbook and hands me a makeup compact. I open it, blow away the loose powder, and stare at my reflection. A stranger stares back at me. Okay, guys. So again, our book this week is Restart by Gordon Korman. It is found in realistic fiction under KOR for Korman. It is I think, a really wonderful book. It really shows us that sometimes, especially as kids growing up, we don't always make the best choices when we're deciding what kind of person we want to be. And our main character, Chase, is given the opportunity to literally restart his life because of having amnesia. He can choose a new friend group. He can choose new hobbies and interests and activities, and he can change the way that he treats his family and really better himself. So I think this is a pretty interesting book. I love that we get to hear the different perspectives from the different characters in this book, and I think you are going to enjoy this one. Happy reading.